Hey there, friends. Welcome to your weekly energy update. I'm excited for us to take a look at the cards that are coming up right now. And as usual, it's great to see you. So, the first thing that comes to mind with what I'm seeing for the week ahead is a refinement of your attention and a refinement of your energy. So, I'm going to show you the first card and I'll explain more why that's what's showing up. So the first card that's showing up for this week is our Seven of Cups. And on the high end of the spectrum, this can be where we have a lot of options. We have multiple choices on our plate. There's a variety of different directions we can go, whether this be personally, whether this be in a career situation, whether this is just where we're wanting to put our attention. However, this card is also a sign that we can be a little bit scattered right now. We might be getting pulled this way and that way, and often the things that are pulling on us are coming from some of our baser nature. In other words, we're getting hooked by things that want to distract us. We're getting hooked by social media. We're getting hooked by scams. We're getting hooked by people that are maybe not the best individuals to be coming into our life. So for some of you, what this can look like is feeling like you just can't settle. You can't kind of relax. There's something that's a little bit off. It's giving you some stress. You're feeling just kind of disconnected. So I want to just show you a little bit of how that's represented in the card. We've got our individual who's trying to decide which of these cups he's going to choose, and the lower level cups, these ones represent some of the more veneer, superficial options that are on the table. Some of the baser desires that show up for people. The dragon is often a representation of energy, fire, power, but when it's in a lower or baser place, it can show up as addiction, something that just keeps grabbing us and pulling us back in. We've got our wreath here that represents success, glory, being the best at something, but it's not necessarily coming from the place of, oh, I want to become the best because I want to be in high integrity in what I do. I want to become masterful what I do. No, it's the part of us that goes, I want to be seen. I really want to be noticed. That's what will make me feel better. We've got our pot of gold, which seems pretty obvious, right? Riches and wealth and all these different things. And then we've got our castle on the mountain, which is the high knowledge, being able to separate from things, being the person that knows everything. And while none of these are necessarily off base or bad in and of themselves, it's that they're coming from the place where something is off or I feel insecure, and maybe I can fill it with an addiction, maybe I can fill it with people recognizing me, maybe I can fill it with money, maybe I can fill it by being the one that knows and can be disconnected. So up on the higher rung, we've got our higher wisdom, our higher ethics elements, the parts of us that want to develop deep wisdom, want to have gnosis or knowing, deep knowing within ourselves, spiritual integrity, integrity in our relationships. So just to say that this card often shows up in the energy that's arriving around it, it shows up when we feel unsettled. Something at a baser place in our psyche is feeling disturbed, and rather than going in and seeing what that is, exploring it and bringing nutrients and awareness to it, it's like the reaching. You can see the guys like, this will fix it, this will change it. So this is a bit of the energy that you might be experiencing right now and in the week ahead. Now, luckily, there are ways of navigating through that towards greater integrity. And as you'll see, you're going to have some powerful insights in the week ahead. So the next card I want to show you is our King of Wands. And our King of Wands has done an amazing job of integrating precisely that kind of energy into more depth, into more groundedness, into a greater sense of self. You can see he's both kind of got an active posture, but he's also deeply rested in himself. He's learned how to integrate the creative forces that are moving him in such a way that he can still be patient. He can still sort of trust the movement of time and the movement of things. So specifically, and I pulled another card to get a bit of information about this one, specifically the energy of the Knight of Wands, which, while energized and like forceful and powerful, is also a bit volatile. He's a little bit this way, then that way, reaching for this, thinking that if he charges forward, he'll be able to break through into the next thing. Well, the King of Wands has integrated that kind of energy, the energy that's like almost too much, it wants to explode. He's learned that if he can bring peace, bring quietude, bring some resolution to the parts of himself that maybe feel a little bit disturbed, that a greater groundedness with that energy is possible. So for some of you, this can represent precisely what it is that you're integrating. You're finding your deeper sense of power, grounded integrative power. There's something really important to understand about power, which Nietzsche actually was well known for speaking to, which has to do with, often we sort of think of power as being something that is volatile and dangerous. But people that are powerful and deeply integrated, they're able to use that power for the good. They're able to feel empowered in themselves, and feeling empowered in oneself allows you to be in integrity in a completely different way. When you feel powerful and in integrity, there isn't any need to take advantage of anybody else. There isn't any need to be fighting with anybody else, because your power is rooted. You know yourself. Whereas if somebody is lacking power, they don't have power in their system, they feel deficient in some way, that's where we start reaching for something to make us feel safe, reaching for something to make us feel secure in some way. And people that are in that place of deficiency, and they've got big places of insecurity, and they feel like they need or they want power, those are the dangerous people. Those are the people that misuse a certain kind of brittle, fabricated power. So anyway, so this could be something that you're integrating for yourself. It's also possible that you are in contact with somebody that is either displaying the high side of the spectrum with the King of Wands. In other words, they're showing you a representation of what it means to have power and integrity and creative know-how. This is a great leader. So if you've got a great leader in your life, this could be representing that person. It could also be representing the opposite side of the spectrum, which is sort of the whiny, complainy, emotionally turbulent individual, the individual that is constantly blaming others, constantly looking for a reason for why something is off. So either of those qualities could be something that you're exploring in yourself. And the definite movement, the arc that's happening between these two is, if you're experiencing some of this unsettled energy, your movement is to go inside and find the place that is afraid, find the place that is insecure about something, and create some room for it. Be in conversation with it, maybe journal a little bit, because that reaching energy, when you find the place that is asking you to reach, or that is making you sort of unsettled, and it starts to open up, that's when you've got this really powerful integrated energy. That is the representation of our salamanders there. The salamanders are biting their own tail. The dark salamander in alchemical texts actually speaks to, in the alchemical text, the black salamander is the prima materia, which is the initial injury. It is the deep shadow part that we work on. We're walking in our life, we're growing through in our life. And when the salamander is eating its own tail, it means that that shadow part of yourself has come full circle. It's starting to digest itself. It's becoming the remedy to its own self, right? The injury, the shadow, there's also always the answer. There's always the remedy inside of there, right? The jewels are found in the dark, dark cave, right? This is where we're able to bring healing to ourselves. So your final card for the week ahead is the Ace of Swords. And this is what I mean. This is going to be a week of insight. So particularly if you give yourself time, to be with what's showing up, to not distract yourself with all the pretty thirsty things that might be showing up or that might be sort of pulling on your attention. And if instead you take some time, you walk in a park, you sit in some meditation, you do some self-reflection, some journaling, you give yourself time and space to be with what's arising. What I always say is we're looking to synchronize with what is, which means we're not pushing away what's scary. We're not trying to get away from what's scary. We're saying yes to what's here so that we can see it clearly. And that's what brings forward greater integration, greater inner alchemy. So you're likely going to have some amazing insights this week. I see it as a week that's going to open new doorways, maybe release some energy in a really positive way. There's a lot of positivity that I'm seeing. So I also just want to say for a moment, that's basically your reading for the week, but I also just want to say for a moment that in our community portal this week, the emphasis is going to be on the heart space. So the Kundalini channel, the governing channel that moves from above all the way down to below us, backwards and forwards, there are different areas in our energy system that can get clogged up or stuck. And any area that happens to get clogged up or stuck is going to create challenges both in our moment-by-moment experience of ourselves, but it also radiates out into our relationships, into the types of work that we're doing. And so this week we're going to be looking specifically at the heart space. So some of the esoteric texts speak about behind the heart chakra is a deep place within the heart, a sacred place within the heart that is a direct access point to our higher intelligence. So in this week, we're going to be spending time resting in the heart space and learning to begin to allow this area to open up to the insights that want to come in from our higher intelligence. And it's also the gateway that starts to allow us to root into life in a deeper way. So I'm excited to jump into that practice with you all this next week, and I hope this energy update is helpful, and I look forward to connecting again soon. Take care.